first and foremost, just take us through housekeeping from last week. I think you picked up a few niggles. Have you got any updates on them?
Yeah, I think pretty good all round, really. There's a few boys with a couple of small issues, but I think most of them have got through, and players like Robbie Mulhern will be available for selection this week if he can get through the week. So, pretty excited about that. Evan Apape got through, no issues last week as well. But yeah, only a couple of bumps and bruises outside of that.
How nice it that you? I mean, I know John's still out, and there's still
Yeah,
the odd one here and there, but
yeah,
you've got something more like a manageable injury list at the minute compared to a month ago. So
yeah, yeah. Just having Edwin back last week, you can see the difference that he brings to the team, and it's just so helpful. But still with John Asiata, Ben Nakabua, I think there's 9 players out of the squad that are not considered for selection. And the Gaz O'Briens and the list goes on. Ben Nakabua, the list goes on. So I'm just grateful that the names are starting to be talked about at the start of the week, and they're out in the field training and trying to get the load in now, ready for coming back. So we're grateful.
I think that was Gaza calf. Ben was a soft tissue, wasn't he? Are
Yeah.
they still out then? Are they still some way off? Or
Yeah, I think Gaz is maybe a week or two away, depending on how he pulls up after this week. Um, and Ben's probably about 2 weeks, so we'll just have to wait on that as we go along. Obviously, John's long term again, so we'll deal with that on a weekly basis.
how big of a blow is John? To just get him back.
Yeah.
Obviously played such an important role in that win, and then lose him again. That's got to sting because of how important he is to the way that
Yeah.
you want to play.
Yeah, well, especially the way that I play as a coach, he's very influential with that, and we have to change completely as a group when he's not playing, and we've struggled with that at times this year, and but to have him come back and luckily the game was all well and done. I think that it was 20 odd points before he got on against Catalans 2 weeks ago, but he played 30 minutes, then injured at training a couple of days later. So it wasn't ideal, but we're learning to play without him. And again, players like the Trouts are getting Owen Trout and Dan Norman. Up until Dan Norman, he's another one obviously still out with the protocols of concussion. They've got a lot of game time, which has made it better.
You look at the league table now, and you're 9 points off the top 6, which is a fair amount to catch up. Obviously, there's a long way to go. How do you assess where you are at the minute in terms of the league table? Because it's nothing set until round 27, but
Yeah.
there's still a lot of work to do to catch
Yeah.
up to that chasing pack
Yeah,
now, isn't there?
there's a lot of work to do, and you need probably some results go your way as you go along. But we've just got to make sure we take care of what we're in control of. And it's as a coach, I understand that that's an important part of who we are and where we sit on the ladder. But you've just got to block it out completely. I remember a couple of years ago, I didn't look at the ladder for about 14 weeks, and before I knew it, we were inside the 6 again. So it's the same mentality here. We've just got to start winning. That's all. And we in every game this year, bar one, I think we've been in the game to win with 15 minutes to go, including on the weekend. And just those mental slip-ups and lack of concentration is certainly hurting us. So we've got a lot still to improve with that, but we'll get that once the players get more time together as a group.
How do you push that mentality onto the players? Because while you might be able to not look at the league ladder, they might find it harder.
Yeah, I think so too. We have regular conversations about these sort of things and a particular mentality that I'm looking for in a person or a player in a group. And it's if you start doing that, it's really difficult to make up the space. All you can control is your 80-minute performance and your preparation during the week, and you've got to win. So we understand that, but I think if you can put a handful of wins and get on a roll together, that certainly helps as well. But when you look at our ladder and our draw, I think after this week, I think we've got 6 games away from home. You think about how that's going to look and how we're going to get there. So if you do that, it's too difficult. So we've just got to take a day and a week at a time.
Just on John, obviously his departure's been announced.
Yeah.
I know there's been a bit of a circus around it with everything. Just your perspective on his decision to move away. and obviously made the move that he has done.
Yeah, well, I think good on him. You know, it's a decision that he's made financially for the benefit of him and his family, possibly in his last contract of his career. You know, and that's all he could wish for really as a player. You know, we made a play for him and we weren't up to it, and that's the way that it falls. You know, and not get on with it. Like I'd like to think of John. You know, after he leaves here as a player that's brought some great joy to this town, and I love the player. I love the bloke. You know, the player teammates love him, the fans love him, he loves them. What he's done for our club and this town has been nothing but sensational. So I wish him all the best with that. You know, but he's still got a job to do for us here, and like everybody else, he's made a decision to move, and you know we've just got to get on with it, and the club will survive long after. You know, John's gone, but you know we've still got to. You know, we talked just a moment ago about how do we get into that six, and he'll play a big part of that from the halfway point of the season to the very end. So, you know, we've just got to move on with it and get on with what we do on a daily basis.
He's going to Hull FC. You've been linked with Hull FC. I know you said you've got a good poker face, but I'm going to try and get it on. What can you tell us at this stage? Has anything moved from Friday in terms of your future, whether that be leaving Lee, staying at Lee? What can you tell us? Yeah,
I think the same as what I talked about the other day. You know, I was linked with the South job last week. It's Hull this week. You know, it's probably someone else next week. And my conversations have always been just the focus beyond this team and this club, because we obviously we're not comfortable where we sit on the ladder, and I don't want to get too caught up with negotiating or talking to other clubs that may be of interest or all speculation, in my opinion. So for me, you know, I just on a same as the team and our performances, I'm on a day-to-day and a week-to-week basis on where I am. Obviously, I'm off contract at the end of the year. I think that's been highly spoken about, and that's probably why these sort of links keep coming up.
I think Derek said that, you know, an offer had been tabled. I think you suggested maybe not quite got to that stage. Has that developed? Is there now, in your mind, a deal on the table to stay at Lee Leopards next season?
No, it's the same thing. You know, I'm forever having conversations with Derek and the club about my situation as coach, and nothing's changed from a week ago, and nothing will probably change in a week or a month. You know, it might take 3 months. I'm not too sure, but like I said, I've tried to push those things aside and make sure that I focus on this team, because we need to start winning. You know, we are in a difficult position on the table, and we've got to. My whole focus is set on that.
Just lastly from me, I won't push you any more on it. Just the Hull link and all that. Would that be a position that, you know, you are off contract and you've got your own future to secure, and I think everyone could appreciate that. While your future's uncertain, would that be a position of interest? Is it a club that, you know, it's a sleeping giant in many ways, isn't it?
Yeah.
Would it be of interest to you to try and take them back to a position of competing at the right end of the table?
Yeah, I haven't had any thoughts down those lines, though as a professional in any business or way of life, you know, if you are up for contract, you have to and talk and speak with where the opportunities are. That's just common sense. But like I said, you know, what we have done here as a group since my arrival in 2022 has been an amazing journey so far, and you know, I've had some of the best times of my life here, and you know, when you think about what we've achieved here in Championship and then with the Challenge Cup last year, you know, I've had some really good times here. So it's a position that I'm grateful I'm in at the moment, that I coach this club. You know, we've got a great bunch of men around me. I'm not looking outside of this square circle at the moment. The focus is purely on the week-to-week basis and coaching.
Brilliant. Cheers, Lammy.
Thanks, mate.
Hi, Lammy. It's Aaron. Hope you're well.
Hey, Aaron. Good. You okay?
Yeah, good, mate. Sorry, I just will push you a little bit more if that's okay. Obviously, this time of year, there's so much uncertainty around player futures. Is there a worry that uncertainty around the coaching position at Lee might impact the business you are able to do? What I mean by that is, might players look at Lee as a club, think it's quite attractive, but if they don't know who the head coach is going to be, if they don't know you're going to be here, could that maybe get in the way of business a little bit?
Yeah, I haven't really thought about that. But having said that, a lot of the contracts that I negotiate in the past have always been a 1-year deal. So I think not too much has changed with me and the position I'm in. Some of the contracts that I've signed have not been signed until the end of the season. So I think by doing that, it puts you in a position to be able to negotiate and to be able to discuss your future, and that keeps things alive, because I know I need to coach at my best to be offered a new contract, but it also puts you in the window, as a professional for other opportunities that are there. But like I said, I think whilst we haven't been winning on a regular basis, the group is really tight knit, and we definitely have a buzz about us, and we're going to do some amazing things this year. I think the story this year may be that, let's get off the canvas, off our backs. Let's find a way to win games, make this 6, and then from there, the story might be something bigger and better in a different way. So, I communicate that to the players on a regular basis. They understand how I am committed to this group, and that will never change.
Would you like it sorted sooner rather than later, or are you relaxed about the whole situation and what will be, as it were?
Yeah, I'm relaxed about the whole situation. I'm in no rush. I mean, any smart person would have gone in straight after the Challenge Cup win and signed a 5-year deal, but I didn't do that. So if you put that in perspective with everything else, that's no different to the current situation I'm in now, but probably the other way around. So it's just on a week-to-week basis. Let's just focus on starting to win games here at the club, and from that, I think things will progress.
You mentioned the league table, and obviously you're 9 off the 6, but bizarrely you're also 9 off the top of the table. It's this incredible freak scenario where 6 teams are all level on the same amount of points. I mean, if you can put a run together, I guess there's not just an opportunity to make the 6, but there's an opportunity to really make some inroads into those higher places, isn't there?
Yeah, I think you can look at it different ways. It's amazing how that actually sits as we speak at the moment. That's great for Super League and especially for the clubs that are in those positions at the moment. But you sometimes you want the top 2 or 3 teams to keep winning every week, so that the ones that are sitting around that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 don't get up the table. So that's the sort of way I feel about it at the moment. I've got mixed feelings about when they're beating each other every week, and I'm like, that doesn't really help. But I guess all we can control, as I mentioned before, is the way that we play. If we keep winning every week and someone loses above us, well then we can climb the table. But we can only take care of that on that 80-minute performance every week. So we've got a really tough game this week against Salford. It's always a ding-dong battle against them. It always goes down to the last 15 minutes. The game's always in the balance, and there'll be no difference this weekend. I think they're playing some really good rugby. Some had some great wins as well, so it'll be a great challenge.
They are one of those 6 teams, obviously, that are level on at the top and level in 6 for whatever it's worth. How big a game does it make it in the context of your season that you can start to claw someone back, start to make some inroads with a win this weekend? Yeah,
and it's like I mentioned, you're absolutely bang on there, but like I mentioned earlier, we have because the fields are getting ripped up here after this last home game. I think there's maybe 5 or 6 games in a row where we're away. Taking into that consideration the semi-final, the Challenge Cup, and the final, it's 8 weeks where we're not here, something like that. It's very similar to that. So it's a massive challenge ahead of us, but we did this last year as well, and we come up with a really good plan. So I've got a blueprint there that will work. I just need the players to just find that little bit more confidence and belief within the 80-minute performance on the weekend. And it is a massive game for us and our fans. It's just crucial for us. So hopefully that'll be reflected in the way that we play.
Just lastly, I just wanted to pick out one player from last weekend. I think you called Lewis Brogan a hidden gem when you signed him at the end of last year. Yeah. Misfortune to other guys means guys on the fringes come in. I mean, he didn't look out of place, did he? I mean, how pleased were you with him, and how big a part can he play for you this season?
Yeah, very pleased for him. I watched him at Swinton there for 2 years, kept a close eye on him, and felt that we needed to give him an opportunity because there was some potential there. And he's trained really well with us. He's only raw, really, really raw in the sense of experience and understanding of the game. I think he's put on 6 kilograms since his arrival. So it's a blank canvas for me, and I love these projects, to be honest with you. These are the best ones. But for a local lad to play at all his local junior here at a league local club, it's great for our club, not just the big picture of him being a part of the 17 last week, but for every young boy and girl playing rugby league in this community here to look up to someone that's come through the junior program and is now playing in that first team or has debuted for his first team. I think that gives a local hero, a bit of a tag to him on that, and you know, I'm hoping that he keeps developing at the rate that he is, because he certainly can help this club give it that identity with local people and players here, and again for our young youth around, to have someone to look up to like that is certainly a great achievement for the club and for him.
Brilliant. Cheers, Lonnie. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Lammy, just one last one on you, I promise. What's going to be key to you finally making a decision one way or another? What is going to either keep you at Lee or make you move?
The big bucks, mate. Roll out the dollars, pounds. No, I'm being silly. I'm very loyal as a person, and I have a philosophy and a belief in rugby league and certain destiny and fate and things like that. But you know, I think what we've done here in the last 2.5 years has been incredible. And like I said to you, you know, I don't want to look too far ahead of this weekend. I don't want to talk about contracts. I don't want to think about contracts. I just want to get this team back winning again. And I think from off the back of that, well, then I think we can move forward with something once those wheels get rolling.
Matt mentioned the circus that was around about last week with all the Hull stuff. Do you think that has had any impact on, say, Saturday's performance and recent results? I mean, there's been a lot of talk. Obviously, Tom Briscoe's gone, Ed Chamberlain's gone, talk of Ollie Houghton's now going. I mean, is it unsettling for the players at all?
Oh, in the dressing room before the game on Saturday night, I didn't see any indication of that. The way that we're trained, there's no indication of it. But look, back in the back of their minds and the subconscious thinking, maybe there is something there. You know, there are a lot of players that were off contract a couple of weeks ago, so that can be disturbing to a group and a team. But I think John, being the captain, maybe played a part in some mindsets. But you know, we've addressed that now. I've addressed that very clearly on what we need to do as a group moving forward. And John's also got, you know, to leave behind that legacy that he can grow on what we've already achieved.
Do you mean you've sort of said to the players, this is why he's gone? What was a little bit, not unrest, probably the wrong word, but just a bit lack of clarity on what's happening going forward?
As a coach, I believe that the players need to get as much information as they can on every issue within life and rugby league and family. You know, the more that they know about the situation, the more quickly you understand it. So I was just honest with them all and just said to it how it was, and that we needed to move on as a group. It's simple as that. And that they get it as human beings. You know, once you have clarity and you know and have information, you can make smarter decisions based off that. So, you know, I think we're in a really good place with that. I have no issues now moving forward that, you know, we'll move forward about that situation quickly.
And just the last one, I wasn't there on Saturday. What is John's injury? Is it a recurrence of what he was out with previously, or is it something?
No, he's had a hamstring tear. So,
right.
Yeah, not ideal again, but 4 weeks plus with that. So, you know, we'll just manage that again as we have done all year.
Is that the same as he did last season?
I'm not sure. I think it might be the other leg.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Lammy. Cheers.
Thanks, Drew.
Adrian, hiya, how you doing?
Hey, Bill. Good.
Just in terms of that roller coaster game against Cas last weekend, does that kind of showcase kind of everything about the season so far in terms of, you know, great spirit to get yourself back in front, but you couldn't quite see it out at the end there? It kind of sums up your campaign so far, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think I said that in the media after it. Just even, you know, him kicking 2 goals from the sideline to tie the game was just incredible, and it was like, oh, here we go again. So, you know, they said to me after the game, do you see that as a positive or as a negative, the 1 point? And I was confused. I thought, I don't know. But the more I've thought about it, you know, it could have gone the other way, and I'd be devastated had it gone that, considering I thought we were so dominant as a team right through. And I think there was 2 tries in a row that were disallowed that would have made it 30-10 and 36-10. So it could have been a completely different outcome. But that's the way the rugby league goes when you're not focused, and it's just sort of reflected how our season's been. So, you know, doing some really good stuff, but just not quite nailing it. So, again, with a lot of faces and new faces and people in different positions and stuff, that you kind of get that at times. So this group needs to learn how to win once the game's been won. So, that's what we're working hard on a weekly basis.
And you think it's more that than the new faces than any of these other issues maybe distracting the players on the day?
I think maybe there's some small issues there about contracts and stuff. Maybe that plays a little part in it. I can't say for certain that it doesn't, but it can affect individuals within. So, but it's part of rugby league. The players are getting paid to perform here, and that's what they need to do, and not think about that in the subconsciously.
Obviously, after the game at the weekend, or just before, actually, Derek did a lot of media, and he was very unhappy with kind of Hull going public with the deal to sign John. He felt it was disrespectful. Just wondering where you stand on that. Are you a bit more relaxed about things being announced mid-season, or would you rather it was once the campaign's over, teams start saying who they've got lined up for next year?
Yeah, I've got no comment on that. Yeah, I'm here to coach the team and get us winning again. So, yeah, no comment.
Okay, no problem. Thank you,
Okay,
Adrian.
No worries.
Hi, Adrian.
Hi, man.
Coming up last as always. Just looking back to Castleford, you were lucky in one sense in that I thought they played far better than they've played any other game this season. They chose you as their opponents to show what they're capable of, which I think is largely down to their short-term recruitment. But bearing in mind the way that you won the Challenge Cup last year, you must have been disappointed that when you were 28-16 up, nobody kicked a field goal to put you 13 points up. And then when you got into golden point time, you weren't able to land a field goal then either. In that sense, it must be a point lost rather than a point gained, I suppose.
Yeah, I think I've spoken to the players about this and our key players about it, but we also missed 2 try-scoring opportunities in that extra time as well. But what I was proud of the group for doing is putting ourselves in a position to take the field goal. It's a very... if you think about how many opportunities Castleford had in that extra time to kick a field goal, I don't think there was one, yet we got in front for 3 and we bombed 2 tries. So when as a coach, I could look at it and be angry at them for not taking the 1 point at some stage or not winning the game on golden point. But I'd rather be the coach to think that we got ourselves in a position to kick it. The kickers just didn't execute the kick. Everyone else did their job. So, it's something that we'll learn from, and hopefully when we're in that position again that we can, benefit. In fact, I don't think I've lost the golden point game at Lee. Now that you mention
No,
that.
well, you still haven't. No, that's absolutely right.
I think that's the third. I think it's the third one. So, yeah.
This game against Salford, would you say it's a must-win game? Because obviously, it's looking a bit that way, isn't it?
I think, Martin, they all feel like they're must-win games. On a serious note, that's the pressure we've put ourselves under. But that's okay as well. I think I've got some really senior quality players here that can handle that heat, and we need to win on Friday night. It's as simple as that. On a short turnaround as well. We've only had 1 training session this week. We can't change too much about it. It's going to have to be a really good attitude that gets us the 2 points. But, it's time that we stood up and went after it and got it.
Have you got a plan to deal with Nenny McDonald? Because I thought I was at Huddersfield on Friday, and he was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, he was. He's been playing some good rugby there. He looks like he's a happy player that's playing well. So, we're aware of what he's capable of here. Obviously, he was with us in the championship year, and he's doing some really good stuff for him. And both their centres are 2 of the best in the competition. So we'll have our hands full, but we'll come up with a plan.
And I suspect you don't want it to go to golden point time this week because they've got the expert drop goal kicker in their side.
Yeah, but I hope it doesn't get down to that point, Martin. But maybe I'll discuss with my team to kick one at some stage prior to that point.
Yeah, and he's also quite good at kicking from the touchline as well, just like Rode Mills was.
Yeah.
But just a very final point, Adrian, from what you've said, do I get the impression that other things being equal, you would definitely like to stay at Leeds?
Well, I've not had any thoughts about going anywhere else. I've been here. This is my third year here now, and I love the people. I love the players. I love the owners, Derek, Neil, Chris Chess. I get on with them like a house on fire. It's been a great experience and a place to be. And I love our fans. Most importantly, they're some of the best in Super League around the world. So, but like I said, there's a process that will take place, and when that unfolds, I'm sure if there's any news about that, you'll